The secret of the loop. Why must we experience the same problem again and again? Author, Vahid Zekavati. Copyright, VMZ Production. Introduction. Why again? Let me answer that hypnotic question right at the start. Yes, you are stuck again, but this time not in the problem itself, but on the verge of a profound discovery. You've felt it, haven't you? That life seems to repeat the same old script, only with new faces and costumes, and you feel that exact same old pain in the pit of your stomach. It's not madness nor eternal bad luck. It's a message, a powerful jolt from your subconscious. But if you know the problem, why, at the critical moment, do you hit that same self-destruct button? Are we truly condemned to this recurring fate? If we know our brains love this repetition, is there a way to trick this lazy lover? And most importantly, if these hardships are for our growth, what is the exact cost of our stubbornness and refusal to learn? I promise you, by the end of this journey, you will not only find the answers, but you will understand that you, yourself, are your greatest tool for evolution. Chapter 1. Why won't life leave us alone? Have you ever felt that the universe is a teacher, but one who is too strict, repeating tests until you simply collapse? You need to face the most raw truth right here. We did not come to this world to live in comfort and perpetual ease. We came to learn and to evolve. This statement might sting, but it is the key to your liberation. If the goal were absolute comfort, everything should have stopped the moment you failed, but it never does. This repetition is the universe's commitment to your growth. When a problem recurs, you must realize this is not a problem, but a lesson. Have you ever had a financial crisis, a toxic relationship, or a professional setback and thought, "I've seen this exact movie before"? This is not mere déjà vu. It is life's signature saying, "You answered this question incorrectly. Try again." Until you truly grasp, understand, and act on the suffering inherent in that situation, the loop will continue. The most bitter part of this truth is that we constantly look for the root of the problem outside ourselves: the boss, the partner, the government, or bad luck. This is the easiest way to escape feelings of guilt, but it is precisely the point where you tighten the loop. You think changing the people will solve your problem, but life sends you a new face with the same toxic behavioral patterns, proving to you that you still need that wound because you haven't healed it. You need to pause for a moment and ask yourself, if the world is a mirror of my inner self, what is this damned repetition screaming at me? Do I have a fear of abandonment in all my relationships? Do I consistently set weak boundaries in all my ventures? If these patterns recur, the core issue is within you, still yearning to play the victim. You must accept this shocking truth and stop shirking this responsibility. This heavy acceptance is the starting point for any great leap. Until you understand that the issue is the unlearned lesson and not bad luck, you can never be free from it. You must internalize that the common suffering borne by all humans in different forms is not for your current self, but for your future self. These pains engrave new neural pathways in your brain that only activate under pressure. Now let's explore the powerful force within your brain that drives you toward this familiar darkness.
Chapter 2. Who is our inner enemy? What if I told you there's a part of your brain that loves your familiar pain? This enemy is not fear of change or the comfort zone. It is your lazy subconscious. Your brain is a survival machine, not a growth engine. And survival means repeating what has been done before, even if it was painful. For your brain, a familiar failure is safer and more predictable than an unknown and risky success. Imagine you left a toxic person, yet your brain constantly replays their memories. This is a subtle game of deception. The brain is pushing you towards repetition with a false sense of familiarity and comfort. It doesn't want to expend energy building a new neural pathway or learning a new skill. It argues, this painful path has been tested before and you survived, so it is safe. This is where the unconscious fear of success comes in. Perhaps you deeply believe you are undeserving of peace or wealth. If you succeed, you might have to take on new responsibilities or distance yourself from old friends. This protective subconscious, out of fear of these unknowns, drags you back to those familiar failures. This is not self-sabotage. This is foolish protection preventing you from crossing your previous boundaries. You must learn to speak to yourself, to that frightened voice inside you. Tell yourself, I am no longer that vulnerable child who needs this familiar pain to feel seen. Throughout our lives, we have acquired wounds and adopted beliefs that now act as the advocates of pain. These limiting beliefs tell you, you are unworthy, or all people are traitors, or earning money is hard, and these beliefs precisely manage external conditions to ensure that the inner belief is confirmed. You must awaken and understand that it is not you who is failing. It is a pattern forcing you to fail. A deep realization of this truth is a psychological shock, because you can no longer hide behind fate. In this moment, you have the power to stand against this internal urge to repeat. But this doesn't happen by pushing a magical button. This awakening is a process that begins with a shattering decision, and we will turn that decision into action step by step.
Chapter 3: The Recurring Pain, the Lesson We Missed. How can we extract the main lesson from all this suffering and chaos? Instead of asking, why did this happen? From now on, ask, what skill or awareness is this event trying to awaken in me that is still dormant? This is the difference between a problem and an unlearned lesson. A problem is what happens, but the unlearned lesson is the inner skill or weakness that caused the problem to occur. For example, blind trust or inability to negotiate. For years, you have been fighting the problem and trying to solve it, while the root of that problem, the unlearned lesson, remains untouched. This is why the tree of the problem sprouts again every time. You must accept this shared pain. We are all repeating certain patterns, but only those brave enough to confront this inner truth can break the pattern. If you constantly withdraw at the last moment in all your ventures, your unlearned lesson is likely not confidence. It is the fear of being seen and the responsibility that comes with success. You must dive into the depth of that fear and surgically remove it. To do this, you must act like a detective. Get a notebook and list all the recurring pains in your life. Focus not on the events, but on the shared feeling. Do you always feel that your rights have been violated in every situation? Or do you always feel anxiety that someone might leave you? This shared feeling is your unlearned lesson that needs to be understood. These lessons are the key to becoming your complete self. In these lessons, life teaches you that you must build spiritual boundaries or take full responsibility for your life. These are the skills that are supposed to transform you into a stronger, more conscious human being. So, instead of cursing the problem, you should look at it with respect and ask, what are you trying to teach me that I am still resisting?
This moment is the turning point where the problem transforms into an opportunity.
Chapter 4. What is the cost of this stubbornness? Do you think the cost of the unlearned lesson is just a bit of discomfort? No. You must face the bitter truth. The cost of this stubbornness is your unlived life. Every time you abandon a lesson, you lose an opportunity to live better, richer, and deeper. This cost is exponential and merciless. The first time you make a mistake, it ends with a minor headache. The second time, you might lose an important financial opportunity. The third time, you might destroy a deep emotional relationship because of that same old self-destructive pattern. Life never repeats itself exactly. Instead, every time it repeats the problem, it turns up the volume until you finally wake up. This is where you must face the shock therapy of reality. You must sit down and calculate, how much has this recurring cycle cost you in the last 10 years? Not just financially, but in terms of energy, time, and relationships that could have existed but didn't. In career opportunities you missed because of that familiar fear. This cost is so high that it leaves no room for excuses like, "I don't feel like it," or "I'll start tomorrow." But the greater pain is this: you are denying your worthiness. By repeating mistakes, you signal to the universe and to your subconscious, "I don't deserve better than this." This is in fact an unconscious psychological suicide. You are strangling the best version of yourself you could have been, simply out of loyalty to an old, toxic pattern. This pain is the loss of your authentic self. You must wake up and realize that opportunities are limited. You think you have forever to learn the lesson, but the truth is that every repetition takes time and energy from you that will never return. Your current hardship is the price of your past escape from awareness. Take this jolt seriously. Now that you recognize the pain, prepare to understand that this is not just an obligation. You have the power to break this compulsion, however difficult it may seem.
Chapter 5. Are we condemned to repeat our destiny? If the same problems keep recurring, does this mean we are trapped in a fatalistic destiny? No, this is only the compulsion of the inner pattern. We are not condemned to repeat, we are condemned to lack of awareness. Let me be blunt. As long as you don't know which inner button is pushing you toward failure, that button will keep working. We humans tell ourselves the biggest lies to avoid the pain of change. One of those lies is hiding behind fate and destiny. But your destiny is a collection of your conscious choices, not a pre-written script. When you consciously choose to shirk a lesson, destiny tells you, "Fine, then repeat." This is not fate. This is the 100% feedback of the universe to your inner vibration. You must accept that the power to change is in your hands. No one else is responsible for breaking this pattern. Not a coach, not a partner, not a sudden miracle. This power is born the moment you say, "Enough. I will no longer allow this toxic pattern to manage my life." This moment is the beginning of your individual spiritual journey. To break these limiting beliefs, you must destroy them. You must sit down and tell yourself, "I believe I am unworthy." Then find the roots of this belief and compare them with your reality today. These beliefs are dry roots that must be pulled out of the soil of your mind. If that inner voice says, "I always attract bad people," you must practice telling yourself, I choose from now on to only allow people into my life who respect my boundaries. You are your own creator. The moment you realize this truth, a tremendous force is unleashed from within you. We call it hope. This hope is not passive waiting for good things to happen. It is the active certainty that you are capable of a different action. This hope releases dopamine in your brain and prepares you for action. But this action needs a map. So, let's map out this precise liberation so you know exactly what to do step by step.
Can I truly change? The short and blunt answer, yes, but not with words, with action. You've come this far, so your inner self is awake and ready to leap. Now is the time for a real roadmap, free from cliches. This map has only one goal: to replace toxic neural patterns with healthy new ones. The first step on the map is distancing. Every time that recurring problem approaches you, for example, a provoking message from an old relationship or a financial temptation, you must not react immediately. You need to take a deep breath and tell yourself, I feel this recurring feeling inside me right now, but I am not this feeling. By creating this small distance, you create a time gap between the stimulus and the reaction. This gap is the space in which the power of choice is reborn. The second step is defining the actionable lesson. Turn your unlearned lesson into an actionable sentence. For example, instead of "I need to increase my self-confidence," which is a cliché, write "I must decisively say no when faced with X." This actionable sentence gives your brain a clear command. Your brain doesn't work with vague instructions. It only understands the language of action and execution. The third step is targeted experimentation. See life as a laboratory. When the recurring situation arises, you must not panic. You should be excited and tell yourself, this is my golden opportunity to act on the actionable lesson. In this moment, you execute a different action and record the result. Failure doesn't matter. The conscious attempt to change the pattern is what releases the dopamine of growth in your brain. This roadmap is not a one-night magic trick. It is a deep, daily commitment. You must accept that to build a new life, you must be slightly different every day than you were yesterday. These small, conscious changes accumulate and ultimately break that loop of repetition permanently.
Chapter 7. What is the secret of the one different action? The biggest mistake on the path to change is trying to change 180 degrees. This is terrifying, and your brain immediately vetoes it. The secret to breaking the pattern lies in one small, targeted, different action. This one different action must be very small and completely focused on your unlearned lesson. If your unlearned lesson is inability to ask for help, this time when you get stuck, instead of fighting and exhausting yourself, go and ask one person for help. That's it. This task is painful for you, but executing it challenges your entire old pattern. What is the effect of this different action? Breaking the illusion of security of the old pattern. You constantly think that if you don't do things the old way, the world will end. But when you perform that one small, different action and see that the world did not end, your brain files a new record. This new way is safe. And with every successful repetition of this new action, your new neural pathway gets stronger. For example,
A woman who always attracts deceitful men. Her unlearned lesson is the need to save others. Her one different action on the first date is, instead of offering solutions in sympathy, she only asks questions and does not judge whether he is worthy of being in her life or not. This small different action shatters her entire old game. This is where the psychological pain of change transforms into the excitement of discovery. Because every time you perform that one different action, you move one level higher and conquer a level of awareness. You must be honest with yourself and accept that failure is natural on this path. If you can't say no today, try again tomorrow. The important thing is to migrate from the state of wishing to the state of action.
Chapter 8: How to Forgive and Let Go of the Roots. Many of these recurring patterns have deep roots in the past, wounds we acquired in childhood that now unconsciously drag us back to those same painful past situations so we might finally finish that story in a different way. But the path to liberation is not in fighting the past, but in forgiving and letting go. You must confront your inner wounded child, that child who needed love and didn't receive it, or that child who was scolded for their mistakes. This child within your subconscious is still managing your relationships and decisions. Until this inner child heals, you will continue to need to repeat the pain of the past. But forgiveness does not mean excusing the wrong actions of others. Forgiveness means freeing yourself from the chains of that event. Letting go means no longer allowing that event to define your present. You must tell yourself, yes, that happened. It was painful, but I no longer need to repeat it to heal myself. I am mature and powerful today. This spiritual journey of release doesn't happen overnight. It begins with honest acceptance. You must sit and talk to yourself and tell that inner child, I see you. I understand your pain, but don't worry anymore. I will protect you, and I will not let that happen again. This commitment creates a deep inner peace that releases the dopamine of healing. When you forgive and let go of the roots, you are essentially reclaiming your psychological energy. You no longer have to spend that energy fighting the past and repeating it. This freed energy is your fuel for building new neural pathways in the conscious life of today. This is the end of an era and the preparation for a glorious beginning.
Chapter 9: How to Avoid Falling from a Higher Level of Awareness. Many of us learn a lesson, break the pattern, but after a while we return to the old state. This painful regression is the result of neglecting consistency. You must know that your brain will always try to revert to familiar and strong neural pathways. If a negative habit has been etched in your brain for 20 years, it won't disappear with 1 month of positive practice. You must constantly, every single day, use the new path until it becomes strong and permanent. The core principle here: consistency is more important than intensity. You shouldn't seek explosive changes that last a week. You should seek small, daily changes that last a decade. If your lesson is writing goals daily, even if you only write 1 sentence on a given day, it's better than writing for a whole day and abandoning it for 10 days. Also, you must use the power of community. Surround yourself with people who are at a higher level of awareness and who have previously conquered your recurring lessons. When you are in a supportive environment, you have less pressure to revert to old patterns. This environment acts as an internal guardian that nudges you every time you are about to slip. This chapter is about protecting your gains.
You must celebrate your small accomplishments to release dopamine positively and consciously in your brain. Every time you successfully perform the one different action, record it and reward yourself. This small reward conditions your brain to believe that the new way is more pleasurable than the old one. Comfort is the enemy of evolution, but consistency is its closest friend.
Chapter 10: How to Choose Bigger Challenges. Congratulations! If you've made it this far, you've overcome those frustrating low-level recurring lessons. Now is the time to face this exciting truth. Challenges never end. They only level up. You are no longer struggling with swampy, repetitive challenges. Now you are ready to climb new mountains. These are transcendent challenges, challenges that demand you become your leader, creator, and influential version of yourself. For example, instead of, "How do I escape a toxic relationship?" your question is now, "How do I build a powerful team and remain steadfast in the loneliness of leadership?" These new challenges are just as difficult, but the pain they cause is the pain of growth, not the pain of repetition. This pain is exhilarating because you know this pressure is transforming you into a precious metal. This is the ultimate purpose of your presence in this world: evolution at the highest possible level. Now you no longer have to wait for life to send you problems. You must consciously choose bigger challenges. You must pull yourself out of your new comfort zone and set a greater goal that requires you to learn an entirely new lesson. This conscious choice transforms you from a victim of fate into the creator of destiny. So, the final question is, what is the biggest, most exciting lesson you want to learn today? If there were no limits, which mountain would you choose? Your answer to this question is your next destination on this evolutionary journey. And you, now, are perfectly ready to begin this journey.
Conclusion. If you have read this book to the end, you can no longer say, "I didn't know." In this moment, you have faced the integrity of your inner truth and know that the repetition of problems is neither punishment nor accident. It is merely an unlearned lesson. The deep, subtle peace you feel inside now is the result of this awareness. This feeling is the dopamine of liberation. You now know that the power is in your hands, and you no longer need to repeat the pain of the past. This book is not an ending, it is the beginning of your awakening. From today forward, every problem that recurs will not frighten you, but excite you, because you know you have found a golden opportunity to leap. Now, go and create the life worthy of your awakened self. Frequently asked questions, FAQ. Here are 20 frequently asked questions related to the loop of repetition, provided to complete the reader's understanding at the end of the book. What happens if we don't learn the lesson? The loop of repetition continues, but each time it occurs with greater intensity, scope, and emotional or financial cost until you are forced to see it. How do I know it's an unlearned lesson and not bad luck? If the final outcome and the resulting inner feeling of the event, regardless of external details, are the same across different areas of your life, career, relationship, money, it is an unlearned lesson. How do I figure out exactly what my unlearned lesson is? By asking, what weakness in my boundary setting, self-confidence, or ability to say no did this event expose? Why does my brain repeat the same mistake even when it knows better? Because the brain prioritizes survival over growth. The neural pathway of the old pattern is more familiar and therefore safer than the neural pathway of change. How do I overcome the fear of success? By minimizing the steps toward success. Make the success so small that your subconscious fear does not perceive it as a major threat. If my past was painful, how can I let it go? By accepting that forgiving others is freeing yourself. You are not letting go of the past, you are letting go of your need to repeat that pain for healing. How long should the one different action take? Even a moment. The one different action is a split-second decision at the point of stimulus that breaks the chain of old reactions. How do I stop blaming external sources? By practicing 100% responsibility, meaning you accept that even if it wasn't your fault, your reaction and your failure to learn the lesson are responsible for its repetition. How can I build strong spiritual boundaries? By practicing saying no to small, insignificant requests daily, so your brain becomes ready to say no to big issues. What is the sign that I have learned a lesson? The sign is that when a similar situation arises, you feel no anxiety or internal agitation, and the correct action flows from you naturally. Can I learn a lesson forever? Yes, but the lesson only moves to a deeper level, e.g., the lesson of earning money transforms into the lesson of managing wealth. Does change have to be hard and painful? Change itself is not hard. Resistance to change is painful. With acceptance, the pain turns into excitement. How do I get rid of the feeling, I am unworthy? By identifying the source of this belief, usually childhood, and daily replacing it with an active new belief, e.g., I am worthy, and I prove this with every small action today. How do I identify a toxic person in my life? A toxic person is someone who pushes you toward your old unlearned patterns and pulls you away from your boundaries. If I feel like I am repeating again, how do I recover? Instead of self-blame, immediately return to the one different action you learned in Chapter 7 and execute it just once. Is reading this book enough? No, this book is just the map. Acting on the lessons and implementing the one different action is what breaks the cycle. How do I overcome procrastination? Procrastination is usually not due to the fear of failure, but the fear of success and the responsibilities that follow. Make the goal small so your brain sees it as safe. Can I seek help from others during my change process? Yes, seeking help is a sign of power and awareness, not weakness. But the ultimate responsibility for taking action lies with you. How should I react to bigger, higher-level challenges? With excitement. Know that you have been prepared for this challenge and that this pressure is transforming you into your creator and leader self. Why should I always be seeking hardship? Because pressure is what creates a diamond. Hardship and challenge are the only environments in which evolution occurs.